Hey, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 62 of the Linking into Sales Social Selling podcast. And believe it or not, Martin and I are actually in the same room. And we're over actually at NC State, if you can't see from the computers behind us.
Technology Training Solution.
We're part at the Technology Training Solutions Group, which is a nonprofit arm of the NC State College of Management, right?
Yep, it's a standalone profit-driven platform that they have. So
basically, tonight Martin was teaching his course with social selling management certificate course, and this is also where we teach our social selling course over in just the next room, social selling on LinkedIn, and we're going to be actually bringing that course back again for the summer semester. Very much looking forward to that.
Yep, we just completed class 5 of our social media management certificate program. Eager to go into. There's a lot of changes in Google.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about that.
Yes.
That's everyone's going, oh, it's the death of Google Plus again. The favorite cry of the media almost from the beginning of Google.
Yeah. So we so today we heard from at Mobile World Congress, which is where you have a lot of mobile carriers and software developers actually announcing new products. Like Samsung announced a new S6, which people are saying it's a phenomenal phone. I'll never buy it. But then you also had Google that announced that they're going to be actually changing a few things with Google Plus, and they released some funny stats on it, which I'm not sure if it's quite registering inside their head what's actually going on there. But one of the things that they said was that they found that a lot of people like to share photos on Google Plus, so they're going to actually separate photos out of Google Plus and create its own Photos app,
which will make 3 different apps.
That it will.
Instead of 1, now we have 3. So we had Google Plus, and then they broke off the Hangouts so that you could use it as a chat communication platform.
Yep.
And now they're breaking off the pictures. And my question is, are they competing with Instagram and Pinterest, or what's going on? We don't know.
Someone's getting some bad advice in Silicon Valley. That's what I have to say. Who needs another photo app? Right. So if we want to take and share pictures and things like that, we should be able to do it where we natively do it, and that's in Stream. Yes, it kind of made sense for Facebook to buy Instagram because Facebook wants to own the internet. But this kind of play here, it doesn't make sense to me. One other stat that kind of came out is they said that publicly, of only about 9% of Google Plus users actually share a public post, and I say, duh. Google told us to create circles and share content within those circles. So if I have a circle of friends, I'm going to share content that's relevant to those friends
privately.
It's going to be private, right? And if I have a business circle or a sales circle or whatever, then I'm going to share content that's relevant to them because I don't want to annoy my friends. So, I don't know if Google is really listening to what users are actually doing. But then again, someone also said that users don't know what they want. They're doing product development. So anyways, pay attention. Google's actually going to put some more announcements out at the Google I/O conference, which you'll be able to watch the keynote addresses happening online in May. So if you want to learn more about that, just go to google.com/IO, I believe, or google.io.
Yeah. And our view is we enjoy Google Plus is my favorite way of communicating with people. Yeah. Especially privately.
Exactly.
So we can send messages, and we work on developing our show on it and everything else.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, this right here is powered by Google. Google Plus, our ability to take and record and put video on YouTube very quickly using Hangouts. Thankfully, this isn't going anywhere. At least they didn't say it was. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. So that's one of them. And then LinkedIn. We've got a whole bunch of little pieces that we decided to put into a show today on changes and updates to LinkedIn.
Exactly. So we it's been a little while since we kind of given the rundown on what sort of changes have been happening at LinkedIn. So we're just going to run through real quick here and talk about some of the changes and how they can work and how they work for you and actually kind of work against you too, because there's been a few things that have come out. So why don't you start with the first one?
Well, the first one is the fact that if you're using the base level and you start really looking up people in your LinkedIn profile to search for a name, let's say a sales managers or something else, that they are going to throttle back what you can see for that month. And they have some wonderful story of how that's for your benefit. I think like the government's here to help you or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So what LinkedIn giveth, LinkedIn taketh. So, and basically what that means, what we were just describing, is that when you go into search, now you're only going to be able to see 100 search results per month when you're searching. If you're doing lead gen, and if you don't have a premium account, you're just going to be stuck until until the end of the calendar month. So now we're kind of don't do a whole lot of searches, so that way kind of spread it out throughout the month. But
yeah, or upgrade, pay the money, and go to a full account that you're using. Our view is, and I've communicated to LinkedIn that it's not fair to limit your access to your first degrees. To me, it's a signal LinkedIn saying is, don't trust having your Rolodex or your list of people on LinkedIn, because if you do a little extra search, we may not give you access to it. That's one message it could possibly send, and we've done our best and recommend, if you agree, to let them know. At least it makes you feel good you made the effort.
But in the same token as well, they've actually given you the ability to see third degree connections, actually see their full last name, which is a little bit different from what prior. Before you could not see third degree connections last names. You can only and actually they were even limiting second degree connections too. So in some ways, it kind of populates your search results a little bit more, but it gives you the ability to see into your network a little bit further.
So they are giving you some new features with it.
Yep.
The next thing is
Yep.
Go ahead, hit it.
So basically, they made some web UI changes. Some web interface changes. So when you're logging into your site, they're rolling this out. I don't have the feature, Martin. We were taking a look at this yesterday, but at the top of your activity stream, you're going to see like your recent updates and how many people have clicked on that, and how many profiles views that you've had, as well as what sort of engagement opportunities you have with people who have changed jobs, have birthdays, or celebrating a work anniversary, or those sort of things.
The advantage of this is now you can see your own activity easier. Many people got lost they posted things and they didn't know how to find what they posted, what they commented on, and so forth. Now there's one click and it shows you what you've liked, what you've shared, what you've posted yourself, all of that, so you can see your level of engagement with others here. I think I'm giving them we're going to do our thumbs up on that one.
Yep.
So we gave, we gave one thumbs down on the other and one partial thumbs on it, right?
Yeah.
So that to me is pretty useful in showing how many people are connecting to you. Look for it and see other information on it. Then over on the right, they're going to start showing you the updates. And this, to me, ties to the new app.
Yes.
So somebody updated their picture, someone got a new job, someone's been working there, and LinkedIn decided to recognize them for working one full year there. Any changes like that with your core network, it's their birthday, it's going to start showing for you to update on the right to make it a little easier to keep up with them.
Exactly. And, check out we did talk about this in a previous episode. So go check out, if you're an Android user, go download the LinkedIn Connected app, and you'll see the same thing, but the app really makes it very, very easy for you to take and find those moments of engagement for you to take and actually reach out to folks, especially customers that you may be connected to, or people who have helped you actually create new business.
Yeah, this is useful. Try it. You can it's easy to scroll across, see what's going on in your community. Do you want to respond? I just had someone that I'd worked with on some projects and they moved to another job, and I realized there's a connection to some other things. So I reached out and sent an email. Yep. So you got this is definitely another thumbs up activity, that this was a positive that LinkedIn had to offer us. What else do we have? Oh, the groups.
Yeah, so LinkedIn groups.
Let's talk about that.
I didn't put it on the notes, but I'm glad you brought that up. Yep. So groups is actually changing just a little bit to make things a little bit more friendly for other users to get engaged in it. So they're changing the look just a little bit. So they're removing the hero image that group owners could take and put up. They can put up a picture. Sometimes the group owners are actually selling that spot, believe it or not. There's also your managers and owners are going to be able to take and pin one discussion to the top of it, so there's no more of this slider activity going on. And the other thing too is that top contributors, that whole metric that you would see on the right hand side, in a group on your discussions page, that's going away. So that way, more and more users that are members of those groups can actually feel like they can contribute without being bastardized for not being a top contributor. Another thing too that LinkedIn is doing is that they put some automatic algorithms in, so that way they can if somebody takes and posts something to the discussion page and it appears to be a promotion or a job, they actually move it to the appropriate tabs. So this should hopefully keep the discussions kind of open. And I think this is one of the things that LinkedIn is continually losing value on is how do you create an engaging group. They haven't had it right for the last few years, which is why you hear a lot of people complain about too much spam inside of groups. Not enough discussion, not enough user engagement and things like that. So they're making some changes, and hopefully these tweaks will actually bring back some engagement. And as a group owner myself, and Martin as well, we definitely want users to come and contribute. So speaking of which, come out and join the Linking into Sales group on LinkedIn and have a good discussion with us. We want you to ask questions and let us and the community come in and actually answer and help you out. We want you to make quota. That's really it.
Yeah, and I'm going to vote this right now, anticipating an improvement. I think they're trying to play that. They're trying to get more quality engagement and less spam, or just only a small group is known as the active users in it. And groups definitely is a way to connect and have some good conversations based on the quality of the moderation and the self-moderating on the group. So I would give this definitely a thumbs up for it.
It's definitely moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Not a quite full
So
thumbs
we'll do
up for
the
me.
little partial thumbs up. There we go.
So
We might be onto something here. We'll see. So those listening to the podcast, we're putting up our little thumbs. So,
so one last thing that we could kind of talk about here is this new thing for if you're a B2B marketer or in B2B sales. LinkedIn is actually, through the integration and their acquisition of a company called Bizo, B-I-Z-O, which was a business-to-business ad network that could sell basically retargeting opportunities for display advertisers. So those little ads you see up on the websites. LinkedIn acquired Bizo last year, so now they're actually rolling out an integration where based on the data that is inside of a user's LinkedIn profile, they can actually take and surface ads. So what we say with data is like, what sort of skills and endorsements have you received, that kind of information, or keywords inside of your profile. So this is LinkedIn's attempt to actually build a very sophisticated B2B advertising network and take what Bizo's done and move it to the next level through that integration that they've actually created, and merging that company into the LinkedIn ecosystem. I think personally, this is a move in the right direction because of how difficult it is to advertise in a B2B fashion.
Yep. So we'll give that a thumbs up. There we go.
Continue to watch that.
Keep watching that. And I think those are the big ones that are going on now. So just, a lot of churn and activity across all the social media platforms now. So there's a lot of changes happening. We're still watching Twitter.
Yep.
And seeing if but we know, if you hadn't heard, Google is starting to pull in that content to the full degree. We don't know, but of course the real social selling people are actively using Twitter during the storm. I had lots of good engagement that reminded me, if interacting with the major media in your sales role is important, Twitter is the place to be.
Exactly. Oh, and it's something that Costello actually said. Dick Costello, who is the CEO of Twitter, he actually was quoted in an article saying that you don't need to log into Twitter to use Twitter. So just kind of keep that in mind too. Even if you don't have an account, if you can now that Google is going to be indexing Twitter and those tweets, you should be actually using Google search a little bit more to find these folks on Twitter, so that way you can actually go through their content and understand what the pain problems are, and use that as a social selling tactic for getting a conversation going with a prospect.
Excellent. That pretty much wraps up what we have today. We just wanted to hit you with a few. There are a lot of sometimes there's just a lot of moving pieces and change. We want to hear from you. What do you want to hear next? Did we miss something that's an important announcement? We want to hear it as well. Absolutely. We might roll it into another show. And we have some exciting things coming up. There's a new website. We're not going to tell them fully about it. But if you're in the Triangle area, we have the Business Breakfast coming up, Linking into Sales Business Breakfast. And then we have some training that's being developed. So watch out for our listeners. We'll probably have some benefit for listeners. We haven't worked out all those details. And
we're going to have actually some guests. I'm lining up a few guests as well.
Me too.
From some web technology products out there that would be very helpful in social selling. I think you'll enjoy hearing from them and a little bit of what their product offers, but more importantly, actually speaking to what the pain is that most salespeople are going through and how the solution kind of fixes it.
So you can find us on.
You can find us on Twitter. Actually, look, if you're watching the YouTube video, go to our Twitter account at linking in the number 2 sales, and then add us to your Google Plus circles as long as they exist. You come in and join our LinkedIn group, and of course, you can follow and connect with us on LinkedIn or on Twitter. So, but thank you very much for joining us today.
This is Martin Brossman
and Greg Heyer, and you've been watching Linking into Sales using social media to support the sales cycle.